What's good, y'all? Welcome to Who Needs a Classroom? First episode here. My name is C.Shreve, aka C.Shreve, aka the Professor. Basically, I want this series to be a place where I can bring some of the things that I learned in the classroom. I had a 12-year teaching career at the university level, and every semester I would realize certain things needed to be addressed, or I could help students if I addressed this first or this later, and that type of thing. So I wanted to start off my first episode with dealing with stress management. I would usually do that first week of class, talk about ways they could avoid stress for this semester, kind of forecasting the semester. And then we would do it again at the end when we talked about psychological health, and we would talk about maybe the greater health context of different mental health issues, but also how they could handle their stress better this semester type thing. So the way I introduce it usually is by talking about stress somewhat, talking about how stress can be good and bad. A workout is good physical stress, right? Maybe working a job where you have chronic low back pain caused by maybe improper ergonomics. That'd be an example of a chronic potential negative stress. So they can be all in between, but we can have short-term, long-term, good and bad. Getting a promotion is a good thing, but then you have more responsibility. Just like falling in love is awesome, but then it throws you for a loop. So stress can go kind of the plus minus way. But stress is basically wear and tear on us, things that kind of require us to recover from. And one of the metaphors I like for stress is the mountain. So let's imagine for a second, let's throw up a mountain here. And we use the mountain basically to represent a goal or, some achievement you would hope to strive for. So one of the first things with the mountains is the scale. How big is the mountain you're trying to climb? If we're in the Blue Ridge, we have the Blue Ridge Mountains. We got multiple. You may have a multiple peak here. Which mountain are you choosing? If you're choosing to, you want to go become a neurosurgeon, you're talking about, 8 years education, 2 years of residency. This is a very defined, long career path. Maybe very different than maybe a more short-term goal or maybe a more achievable first goal. So what mountain are you choosing? And then what route are you choosing to get there? You choosing a lot of switchbacks and you're gradually getting there and you want to see the view at that spot? Or, are you, trying to just take the nose route and it's very difficult. So what's the pace? What's the pace at which you're moving through life, achieving your goals? Are you willing to settle for a lower goal than you planned for? Sometimes that results in more satisfaction long term. At the same time, as you go through this climbing experience of life, what's in your pack? If you're going for a hike, you might pack a sandwich. You might pack a map. What's useful to you that you have with you? What's weighing you down too? If you carried some encyclopedias in your pack, that wouldn't be useful. You'd throw that out. The weight wouldn't justify its value. So what's useful to you on your journey? What is weighing you down? As we use those, as we go through these different circumstances, the four A's are really helpful on your ascent. I might use a few A words here, but the first A is avoid. What stressors can you avoid? If you take certain routes at certain times of life, then they're less stressful than others. Sometimes things are in their right season, so to speak. So can you avoid some of the stress? If I'm a rapper like I am, then maybe I can avoid releasing my music when everybody else does if I research kind of the history of releases. If I'm, choosing routes or choosing to try to graduate in 3 years, or if I'm choosing to try to take a job that's highly competitive, I need to sometimes accept. That's one of our A's here. We'll get back to accept in a minute, but avoid when possible. Sometimes you need to kind of not do everything at once. Avoid some of the stress in your life. We'll get back to accept. Accept is the fourth one. Adapt. In what ways can you handle things better? How can you be more efficient? How can you, we would talk about, how can you have better study habits? But it might be how can you, better help your family to feel nurtured as you go about your day-to-day and week-to-week life. Sometimes that's altering and choosing alternatives. That's our third A. So we have avoid, we have adapt, and we have alter. Is there a way you can maybe alter your perspective? Is there a way you can choose an alternative? Alter and adapt are closely related, but they're both very useful. All those first three, avoid, adapt, and alter, kind of action associated with them, whereas the fourth one, accept, sometimes feels very passive. And so sometimes people don't realize the power that it has. If you think about it, grieving or dealing with a loss is accepting. One of the first steps is accepting that, so then you can move forward and find alternatives, find other ways to adapt in the future. But one of the first ones is to accept what's happened. And it's difficult when something has happened to you that you don't like. So those are the 4 A's. The mountain metaphor, I think, is very helpful for stress management. Utilizing strategies that help you to handle your day-to-day life in a better way will result in better life satisfaction, better achievement of these goals, and just you feeling better about how you're moving through the world. So this is our first first episode here. Who Needs a Classroom? So check it out. We'll be back next week with another one. Let me know what you might in the comments, what you might like to talk about. If you've been a student of my class, by all means, tell me which things you like, because some students know which lectures and which kind of jewels we should dust off and shine for people. So stress management is key, and however you move, understand that stress is going to be here. It's going to be good and bad. It's how you frame it in your mind. How do you look at it, and how can you work through it in a way that's more productive for your life? So if you're weighted down, let some of that weight off. Or look at things a little differently sometimes, or handle it. Sometimes you got to muster it up and handle it. So thank y'all kindly. Again, my name is C.Shreve. Subscribe, like. Thank y'all kindly. Peace.